So hello, for this session, I'll be teaching about the principles of speech writing. And actually, this was recorded during a class in ABM 2, but sadly it was sent. My mic was muted, so sadly the audio didn't go with the video at all. So I had to record the audio once again. So I hope that you'll be fine with that. And now, as I discuss the principles of speech writing, I would like you to open up the your Word document or Microsoft Word document or any Word applications that you can use for the speech writing. And what we're going to do right now is your outline first, because the outline is very important in the creation of your speech. So I will also be guiding you along the way in doing so. Now there are several processes of speech writing that will be going into. So without further ado, let's check them all out. Now in speech writing, the several processes include the conducting of audience analysis, determining the purpose of the speech, selecting a tone, a topic rather, and of course specifying it, and you should gather data along the way so that it will support your topic as you do it or as you create your speech. And it doesn't end there, because you also need to do the following or consider the following: selecting speech pattern, preparing an outline, creating the body of the speech, then preparing the introduction, preparing the conclusion. And once you're done doing everything, now it will be your turn or time to also recheck everything from the grammar up to the ideas and the spelling and the words that you have used, or revising if you want to redo your speech or if you want to make it better. So editing and revising is very much recommended. Now we will discuss about the demography, the situation, and psychology. These are the things that we need to consider in recognizing or analyzing our audience. It's important for us to know our audience so that we'll be able to avoid things that might offend them and choose topics or words that might get their attention or help us into making our speech more interesting for our audience. Now in the first one, the demography, we're going to take into consideration the age, the range, the age range, the male, female ratio, the educational background, and the affiliation or degree program that they are in. Now I'll be showing to you how to create the first few things for your outline. So let's say that I'll be making my own speech. So the first few things that I'll be including doing is considering the audience or the audience analysis. let's look for their demographic. Since the audience will be your class, let's say that the age range of your classmates are 16 to 17. And there are 33 female and 6 male in your class. Then all of you are of course senior high school students. And let's say that you are ABM students. Let's just stick with ABM for now. Because we're also going to consider your degree or the educational attainments and also the course that you are affiliated with. Now, other than the audience analysis, we're also going to consider the time, the venue, the occasion, and the size of the audience. Now, we'll be sticking with the schedule of your class since ABM A2 is scheduled for Monday 8 to 10:30 a.m. So the schedule that I'll be considering for them is this one, Monday 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Now it is also important for us to take note of the time of the day because you'll get, and also the date itself, because we'll get to consider how should we approach the audience. Since it's Monday, when it's in the morning, then most likely they have the Sunday sickness and they are still in the weekend mood. So we need to be more energetic. And since it's December, we'll also consider the occasion, which is Thanksgiving. Now, about the size of the audience, of course, it's the number of the people or your classmates. In the case of ABM A2, they have 39 classmates, or there are 39 students, and one is a teacher. So it's a total of 40 students. Now also, when you talk about psychology, this is now the mindset of the people or the audience. What kind of value do they have? What are their beliefs? What are their attitudes? And what do they like? What are their preferences? These are things that we need to also consider in the audience analysis. Since they are ABM students, then we can say that they are interested in business. Also, considering the situation that we are in right now, maybe they can take a little relaxing topic, or maybe they need something to relax themselves. So I think we can also consider that as their needs. Too much stress has been experienced by the students already, so we need something relaxing. Now, after the psychology, we'll now look into the purpose of our speech. What will be our topic and how can we be more specific about our topic? Also, how do we gather data and what are the things that we need to put into the gathering of data, and choose a writing pattern. In the purpose, why are we going to write our speech? Or do we want to inform people? Do we want to entertain our audience? Or do we want to change their mindset? Do we want to make them believe our advocacy or our own mindset? Let's look into what purpose do we really want to have in our speech. Now, for me, the purpose that I want to have for my speech is to persuade students since they are interested in business and they need something to relax themselves. Now, about the topic, let's look into the main point. What is our point in our speech? So, for me, the one that I'll be choosing has something to do with business, of course, but take note that it's too vague. It's so general that it has so many things that it can mean, or it does mean so many things. So what we need to do is to be more specific about what will be our topic. That's why there is another step for this, which is the narrowing down a topic. Let's first have our topic. Now, the topic that I want to present is starting a business. But starting a business isn't really that specific yet. So I want to be more specific about it so that I'll be able to pinpoint what I want to achieve in my speech. Also complementing the purpose, of course. So that's why we have narrowing down a topic. So making our idea more specific and first. So how do we do it? Now think of the ways where you can discuss your topic. As for me, I'm going to discuss the topic starting a business. Now, how am I going to be specific about it? Now, for me, I want to tell a story of a man who is starting a business. So we'll be going over his life and how he made his business successful. By that, I am now specific on what my topic is and how am I going to share the ideas present in my speech. Story of a man starting a business. Now, data gathering is the stage where you collect ideas, information, sources, and references relevant or needed for your specific topic. It is so important for us to gather data so that we're not only going to share our opinions, because if we're just going to share our opinions, then it will become biased. But if we do data gathering, we can support all of our ideas. We can also add more to our ideas. So once we get to unify all of the ideas that we are thinking right now and the data that we have gathered from different sources, our speech will become more powerful. So how do we do it? So maybe right now, because it's pandemic, it's impossible for you to search for books that will help you along the way. So more likely, what you'll be having are articles in the Google or articles in any sites where you can get it, as long as you find it credible, the author is credible. Those are the things that you'll be considering as well as you look for them. And of course, do not forget that after you write your speech, at the bottom of your speech you'll be indicating the resources, other sources where you have gathered your speech, so that I'll know that you have really gathered it. And I'll also be doing a cross-check so that it will be seen if it is legitimate. Now, usually the author can be found at the bottom or at the top of the page where you are looking when you are looking for the author in an article. Now let's look at the references. For the references, take note of the author of the book and its title or title of the article itself or the web and also the website, and you will be taking note of the website if it is about the blog. Now let's talk about the writing patterns. The patterns in general are structures that will help us organize the ideas in our topic. And it's also good to have a writing pattern so that you'll get to see the important details of your topic much easier. So there are several types of this. The first one is biographical, presents a description of your life or another person, either famous or not. Biography. If you have seen a biography, that's an example of biographical writing pattern. You tell the story of a man, the significant details of his life, from his name, from his origin, and so on. Now, when you talk about categorical, it is a type of writing pattern wherein you're going to separate ideas according to its category. Now, you do this when there are several things that you want to discuss in your speech. And it may also be confusing. Some topics may have many different ideas, and if you just collect them all together in one speech, it can be very confusing already because there are so many information. But if you do categorical or topical arrangement, it will be easier for you to sort them out. Now, for example, in my own speech, what I'll be choosing as a writing pattern is the biographical, since my topic is about the story of a man starting a business. Well, just take note that this specific topic, the story of a man starting a business, isn't really final yet, but that is the specific concept that I want to get into. why I can still change its topic. I mean, I can change its title along the way as I finish working on it. So if I'm going to talk about the biographical, and if I'm going to use the biographical like pattern, so I'll be including in my introduction will most likely be about the significant details of the character or the object or the main character that I'll be using for my speech. It has something to do with the age, the name, of course, the date or the date of birth, the place of birth, and the family as well. So these are the significant details for me. Now, the other writing pattern would be the causal or a type of writing pattern where we can show the cause and effect. The very basic way of starting a causal writing pattern is of course by revealing the problem. Then the next one would be chronological. Chronological is best for doing a speech about history, about timeline, or a series of events. Because in chronological, it presents the idea in a time order. So that's the best way of using chronological writing pattern for those kinds of topics. The other writing pattern is a comparison and contrast, and you can use this if you are supposed to or if you want to compare two different things or show the similarity of two things in your speech. Like for example, if you want to show the similarities and differences of McDonald's and Jollibee in your speech, you can use comparison and so on and so forth. Then the problem solution is a type of writing pattern which, as the term implies, if you want to provide solution to a certain problem. Like for example, the topic is about or has something to do with the global warming, a very common topic which is used ever since by children and teenagers in elementary and high school. Problem solution would be the best one so that you can show the problem, the global warming, and how can we reduce the problem in global warming. Now let's point out what are the details that I have put in my own outline. I have already included the audience analysis, the purpose or and also the topic and the very specific topic, and also let's just assume that I have included my references there in my outline, and also I have chosen my writing pattern, which is the biographical writing pattern. Now this will be my guideline already in writing my intro, body, and conclusion. And these two that I encircled are just examples of the writing patterns, but it's not really connected to the topic that I have. I just showed this so that you can see how to use these kinds of writing patterns, the causal and also the comparison and contrast. Now this time I would like you to see how to create your intro, body, conclusion. The best way in order for you to accomplish this is for you to start the body first. Why the body? Because the body of the speech is where you discuss everything, discuss all the details about your speech. And you can create your intro after you have written your body, because you already know what are the things, or what are the examples, what are the concepts that you have written in the body, so you can introduce them slightly already in your intro. But how can you start your intro? What are the things that you can put in your intro? You can define terms. You can also start with a quote. You can introduce a problem. You can also ask with a question. Now, for me, what are you supposed to do in the introduction? Once you ask a question in your intro, or present a problem or a quote, make sure that you will explain them along the way in your speech. It is very, very crucial that you explain them so that your audience will not have any missing points, or you will not miss any points in explaining everything. But also take note that you're not going to do that in the introduction, because you're not supposed to discuss the whole speech in your introduction, because that is where the body of the speech will come into picture. So that is where you're going to discuss everything. And take note also, once again, that you should start with the body of the speech first, so that you already have your summary, or you already have an idea what are the things that you have discussed and what to introduce in your speech for the introduction part. Now, for the conclusion, what you'll be doing there is for you to provide your reflection about what are your inferences, what can you say about the topic. The reflection is more on your opinion, your learnings about your speech. Then you can also put a summary in your conclusion. The summary will help the audience to see the main idea of your speech. Then let's say that you did biographical writing pattern, and your topic is more about the life of a person. Then you can also include there the highlights of the speech. Maybe the protagonist has experienced hardships along the way, and there is a critical point in his life wherein that is the turning point, or that is the climax. So you can pinpoint the highlight of your speech. Now, if ever you started with a question in your introduction, what you can do in your conclusion is you can answer the question, which will also help you in summarizing the discussion that you had in your body of the speech. And if you are familiar with those speakers who read questions that are providing challenge to the audience, or maybe giving them rhetorical questions, you can give them, or you can end your conclusion with a provoking question or a rhetorical question. It will also give what we call the goosebumps, or also a question that will help them also be engaged in your speech. And if you haven't used quotation in the beginning of your speech, in the intro, you can end your speech with a quotation instead. Now for the last part, I'll now be showing to you how you're going to put it. Now for the references, everything that you have gathered in your speech, in the gathering of data, you're going to include it in the body, but then you make sure to paraphrase, avoid copy pasting too, so that you will not be marked for plagiarism. Make sure to take note of that. Okay, and also for me, since I started with biographical writing pattern, now what will I use for my intro? I can say that I'll be defining the person. I'll be giving the significant details about the person's life. And then for the body of the speech, of course, I'll be explaining everything from the data that I have got. And for the conclusion, I'll be pointing the highlights of the life of that person, and I'll also end with a provoking or a rhetorical question. So with that, my speech is now ready to be written because my outline is complete. So the next step I'll be doing after the outline is for me to gather the data already. So I'll be doing a research about the life of any person who has been successful in their business after encountering many hardships in life. Now let's just see as one output of a student, an example outline as well, and let's listen as to how she prepared her own outline.
Is it visible na po ba? Or not yet? Yeah, okay po. So, same as the others po, ganun din po my audience analysis is the same with the others po. And my interest for this page is about environment. And my purpose is to inform and to persuade. So my topic is the causes of environmental problems and what can we do to have a solution. So my specific topic is the major environmental issues. So my references in writing this are the news and articles. So the pattern that I'll be using is the problem solution or the cause and effect. So for my intro, I'll be leaving a quotation in the question. For the body, I'll be explaining the problems with the references. And for the conclusion, I'll be giving a solution and my reflection about the problem stated. What should I correct po, sir?
Now, the one that I commented in her sample outline is that her topic is good and her specific topic is just missing some things in order for it to be more specific. Then also I've noticed that her writing pattern is problem solution or cause and effect, so she can choose among the two, which I think are both suitable for the topic that she has chosen. Then her intro will be a quote and will also have a question in it, which I think is good enough. For the body of course, it will be the explanation of her speech. Then her conclusion will consist of the solution or the providing of the solution, the problem that was introduced, and her reflection as well. Now with those examples that I have given, and if you are already finished with your outline, I think you can now start with your outline. I mean, you can now start writing your speech. And during our sessions, what we will be doing is that we'll be having a consultation rather than a discussion. So you can ask me about your outline, and you can also, if ever you have started your speech, you can also ask for advices regarding your speeches that you have already written or the speeches that you are currently writing. Okay, and As always, if you have any questions, I'll try to help you if you're bothered about something. And I just made this video for your tutorial. I hope that this will somehow help you. And some parts of this tutorial, maybe the microphone is glitching, creating a unnecessary noise. Yeah, so just bear with me, and we will just hope in the future that everything will be better. Okay, thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you can use this for your tutorial in the future.